Welcome back to Economics Made Easy. Properties of arithmetic mean. Why do we need so? Because whenever we solve any kind of problem, we have to go through a lot of steps. And in order to avoid that, we have to know certain properties, and somehow, whenever we apply it, we actually, kind of memorize it so that we don't have to spend a lot of time in order to solve a particular problem. Okay, so now the first property is sum of the deviation of given values from the arithmetic mean is 0. Let's just see how is it so. We are going to prove this property in front of you. The steps might seem very cluster or clumsy right now, but I think I'm going to explain it really well. Proof. Now, as you can see, we have taken n variables of n values of the variable x. If you can't see here, I have written x, okay? So these are the n values of particular variable x with respective frequencies. I have stated respectively, which means कि for x1 value we have frequency f1, okay? And for x2 we have f2, and similarly for x3 we have f4, etc. Okay? Arithmetic mean is defined as you can see, you must have watched my video of what is arithmetic mean, and if you haven't, then you should watch it so that it would be easier for you to get these concepts. Okay, so this is the formula for arithmetic mean, and I have nothing, just taken this summation of frequency on the other side and named this equation as equation number 1. Okay, now we have to prove that sum of the deviation with frequencies, sum of the deviation of given values from arithmetic mean is 0. Okay, here x bar is arithmetic mean, as you can see. Okay, deviation means what? Deviations means the difference of the other values with arithmetic mean, okay, is 0. We have to prove this. Okay, taking the left hand side, we just have to multiply frequencies with xi's and taking the summation, and from this equation we can put the value, and so that the equation is proved, and hence the property number 1, which is the sum of deviation of given values from arithmetic mean is 0. It's proved. Now the second property is arithmetic mean depends upon both origin and the scale. We have taken two values x and y which are related in such a way so that the equation becomes this, right? Where b can't be 0, because if b is equals to 0, then this relation doesn't hold, correct? Where a is the origin and b is the scale, as I have written over there. Now we have taken the frequencies of the values, and you might be having this doubt that why we have taken frequencies, why not without frequencies? Now here is the thing, whenever we take frequencies, the method becomes more easier. So it's totally upon you whether you have to take frequencies or not, but I would say ki please do take frequencies because it will make your step easy. Okay, now we have taken frequencies, as you can see, x bar, we have this formula, we have put in the value xi over there, and then we have multiplied it. If you haven't watched my video of 10 fundas and summation, then you should watch it, because that would make your this whole calculation step very easy. Okay, and if you haven't watched it, then I want to summarize it. Here a and b are constants, as you can see I have written and I have mentioned. Now a and b are constants, so we have to take this out, and we have to multiply fi with yi. So we have separated the numerator and the denominator, and after calculation we can arrive at this step, which clearly says that arithmetic mean, which is arithmetic mean, depends upon both origin a and scale b. Property number 3. If all the values of the variable are equal, then arithmetic mean will be the same as the common value of the variable. We have taken all the x values as c, okay, where I is running from 1 to n, x1, x2, x3, whatever the value may be, all the values are C. Okay. After finding out the value, arithmetic mean, we got the constant, which is the value itself. So here comes the third property, which we just have proved. Okay. Now the fourth property. If two variables x and y are related, where the equation becomes z is equals to ax plus by. Remember that a and b can't be 0, because if a and b become 0, then this equation doesn't hold and the relation is absurd. Okay. It says that whenever we find out the arithmetic mean of z, it's similarly related to the arithmetic mean of x and y. Let's just see how is it so. Okay. We have taken zi, where I is running from 1 to n. We have taken the summation and divided it by n, as you can see. What we have done here is, since a and b are constant, we have not multiplied it, and hence after summing and calculating the whole thing, we can say that the am of z is similarly related to. Related to means in that equation as itself, it relates to the value arithmetic mean of x and y. Okay, I just hope I made this clear enough. What's the use of this property again? Now whenever you have been given question of two different kinds of groups with two different number of individuals, with two different number of observations, as you can say, then you can use, or you have to use, this composite arithmetic mean. For that you must know this formula, or you can say property as well. If we combine this together, let's just start from the scratch. There are two different groups, first group, second group, with two different observations. They both are different, that's why we have denoted n1 and n2, with two different arithmetic mean, because obviously if the number of individuals are different, number of variables are different, then arithmetic mean would obviously be different. In order to get the composite arithmetic mean, it states that that composite arithmetic mean will depend on x bar, x2, n1 and n2. Let's just see how. Let's just take the first group variables or the values of the first group is x1i, and for the second group x2i, as it's stated in the board. Now x1 bar is equals to the sum. It might seem very uncomfortable, but I would say कि whenever you solve sums in the future, you will get accustomed to this kind of framework. x1 bar is equals to 1 by n1. n1 is the number of observation. Whenever we solve any kind of sum for finding x bar, what do? We do this, right? So this is the formula, okay, for x bar. Here the n is what? The total number of observation. Here the total number of observation is n1. Here the variables are xi, where I is running from 1 to n, because the total number of observation is n. But here the total number of observation is n1. I just hope I made this formula very much clear. So this very well explained how we got x2 bar as well. Okay. Now we have taken n1 on the other side and n2 on the other side for the convenience, which we will use in the coming formula. Now you can see here, in order to find out x bar, what do? We sum up and then we divide it by the number of, or the total number of observation. So this is the formula that we got. And for the x or for the k variable, we use this formula, okay? The sixth property is sum of the squares of deviation of a set of values is minimum when taken about mean. Now let z is equals to the deviation or the sum of the squares. Sum denotes this sigma, deviation is this, and the squares of the deviation. I just hope you got this clear. where we have purposely taken A to be an any arbitrary point, where we have to prove A is equals to x bar, right? In order to confirm this, or in order to prove this property, what do we have to do? We have to apply the formula for maxima and minima, okay? In order to apply this formula, we have to differentiate it with respect to A, okay? After differentiating it, as you must have read in class 2 or class 12, differentiating this will get the result this. In maxima minima, what do? We put FOC to be 0. FOC is what? First order condition. First order condition is this, okay? This is first order condition, which is equals to 0. After differentiating it, we got the value A to be x bar, okay? And differentiating it twice. Why do we have to differentiate it twice? Because the second property, which is the second order condition, have to be positive in order to make this whole thing minimum, right? Minimum is this. We have to prove minimum, and in order to prove minimum, we have to show that second order condition is positive. Then again we have differentiated this equation with respect to A, and we got 2 into, you can also write it as n, 2n, which is positive. Thus the result itself, it shows that it is minimum. Which is minimum? The equation Zi, because we have differentiated Zi, okay? And what is Zi? Zi is the sum of the squares of the deviation. Sum of the squares of the deviation of a set of values is minimum. How minimum? Because it's positive. Minimum when taken about mean, because we have differentiated or deviated the values with respect to arbitrary, and we have shown that by the help of maxima and minima, this value A is nothing but the mean itself. I just hope you loved my video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. I'm signing off now.